Hey everyone, so this is part 2 of my videos that I'm doing today. Hopefully I'll get around to doing all the parts. If not, I'll film the other part another day. So anyway, this is about dyeing your hair extensions pastel colours. Now, these are the extensions I'm using. I've already, as you know, there's the toner held onto them a bit at the ends there, but other than that I'm starting with an almost white base with my extensions. I'm dyeing my hair extensions like every single colour you can imagine. I'm going to show you how to kind of achieve different pastel colours through mixing dyes and what dyes I use and how I do it all. And yeah, obviously, you know, I'm not expecting you guys to, you probably just want to do like one main colour. I want to do every colour with these extensions. So if you can see over here, these are kind of all the dyes and stuff I'm going to be using today. There's quite a lot. So welcome back to my workspace, and now I'm basically going to show you how I'm going to mix all my colours. Now, because I'm mixing a lot of colours, I've chosen to use these as my tinting bowls. They're just little disposable bowls that I got from a $2 shop, which were, you know, for parties or whatever, rather than using my normal tinting bowl, because, you know, these cost about $8 a go. There's 30 of these here and they were $2. So if you're just mixing up a whole lot of colours, I just recommend buying these. So I'm going to get some of the bowls out. I'm using a lot today, so we'll just start with that. Okay, so basically what you need to do this with is, obviously you need your bright coloured dyes. Now I'm using colours from a lot of different brands. I'm using Special Effects, I'm using Directions by Riche, I'm using Fudge, I am using Crazy Colour, and I'm not using Manic Panic today, but sometimes I use that as well. And what I am mixing the colours with, because all these colours start off fairly dark, is I need to dilute them a lot to get them to a pastel colour. Now you have two options with what you can use to dilute a colour with. I know that Crazy Colour make a neutral colour dye. Basically a neutral colour dye will help to soften out and lighten a colour, but will also work the same way as a dye, so it'll help the colour penetrate into the hair, and it'll also add a nice gloss to it. Now, because I'm dyeing a lot of hair, I would probably need to buy about 8 bottles of this to do that, and that's just not cost effective for me. So what I'm doing to dilute my colours is using conditioner. Now, I know that a lot of people speak of using conditioner. What a lot of people don't realise is you have to be very selective with what conditioner you use. Now, you really want to make sure that your conditioner doesn't have silicone in it. So this is the TreSemme Naturals collection, and I'm using a silicone, they have a new silicone-free formula. Another thing you have to watch out for is any ingredient on the back here that has cone ending with it. I know there's like dimethicone, something like that. Anything with a cone, so silicone, exactly. What these do is they fill the hair shaft and stop the colour from penetrating into the hair. So silicone generally is, well, always is frowned upon in hair products, because it gives the illusion that your hair is really healthy by filling up the hair cuticle, but it's not actually doing anything to protect the hair. But when it comes to dyeing especially, it's going to stop that colour from really penetrating in there. So I make sure that I go for a formula that doesn't have silicone in it. So there's a little tip for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix up my colours. I'm using every colour you can imagine. So I'm going to put some gloves on. I'm going to try and measure fairly even amounts with all of my colours, because I want to use about even amounts for everything. So what I'm going to do is measure out the conditioner in here. With the yellows and lighter colours, I'm going to use a lot more of it compared to these really dark colours, which literally only need a couple of drops to get that pastel tone. So I'm going to start off by pouring fairly equal amounts of all the conditioner into these different pots, into the bowls, and after that I'm going to start adding the colour. Now, when you're adding the colour, add as little as possible to begin with, because if you make it too bright, then you're going to have to use that much more conditioner, and you're going to end up with a whole bunch of dye. You're going to waste a lot of dye, you're going to waste a lot of conditioner, so always start off small. Now the first colour I am using is Directions by Riche Bright Daffodil, and the colour I'm wanting to achieve is a very light canary yellow colour. I'm actually just going to work with one glove because I think it's going to be a lot easier, so I'm just going to keep one glove on. Alright, so I'm going to start in this container here, just pour in some of that yellow. I still want my yellow to be fairly bright because I don't think it's going to hold otherwise, but I'll just add a bit more conditioner. That sounds great. Okay, so that's pretty much the yellow. I've got a fair amount of tinting brushes here, so I don't need to wash them yet, but just make sure you obviously wash them between each colour. Next colour I'm going to be using is Mandarin. This appears to be a fairly concentrated colour, so I'm not going to use too much of it. I literally use just a drop of it. Let's see how that turns out. Even though they look pretty strong in the containers, I know that they're not going to show up like that, so just make sure not to make it too diluted. Next colour I'm going to make is pink. Now, I know what to mix for this because it's what I use for my own hair colour. And for this I am using Special Effects Cupcake Pink. I think I'll need to add a little bit more. I'm actually going to add some Pink Moon by Fudge because it has a little bit of a blue tone in it and I quite like it. So I'm adding a little bit of that to the mix. I have so many dyes here that I kind of have the freedom to make up whatever colour I want, but if you don't, then you know you still have a lot of options. So that's my first three colours. Now I'm just going to rinse these brushes and do the next ones. Next I'm going to mix a kind of light limey green colour, so I'm just going to be using Spring Green by Riche. Getting onto these darker colours, obviously use less dye, so that's how much I put in to start with. I really like that colour, it's so nice. The next colour I'm mixing is really cool and one of my favourites, and this is basically how to achieve a mint green colour. You're not going to achieve a mint green colour with a lime or a normal kind of green. What you need is a pine green, and with a tiny drop of this colour you can achieve a really nice mint. So what I'm going to do is put in the conditioner. Okay, now are you watching? I am literally seems ridiculous, but I put that much in to start with. Now I'm going to add literally like the tiniest drop more. Okay, so let me show you the resulting colour. It's a very, very light pastel mint green. So that's how you get mint green hair dye. The next colour I'm going to be doing is like a bubblegum blue kind of colour, and this is pretty much already done for me. This is the crazy colour bubblegum blue. So I'm just going to pour a bit of this in here to see kind of what colour it is. So yeah, it's quite a bright bubblegum blue colour anyway. So blue. Next up is lavender. So here's my completed hair dye mixed. Some of the colours I might find, the reason that I do it by this way as well when I'm doing rainbow hair is so that I can see how the colours kind of go together, and I don't really know what they're going to turn out like exactly on the hair, so I might need to make some adjustments to the colours, but this is what I've done so far. Okay, so I'm going to be kind of rubbing the dye on with this hand and applying it with this hand. Is easier for me when I work with just one hand. Now, like I said before in the other video, kind of made the mistake of overtoning some of this hair, so I'm going to make sure that the purple goes on the bits that are purple. Now I'm going to start with yellow. I'm doing this completely, now this is going to be really time consuming for me because I'm doing strands about this big in every colour because I want it to all kind of blend together really nicely. If you're just doing the one colour, then I really envy you because this is going to take me for ages. I'm separating all the different colours with aluminium foil, making sure they don't blend onto one another. The normal kind of hair foils I find aren't really long enough for this, slash it's not very cost effective. So I literally am just taking little squares of it, like this, and I'm just starting on each piece. Remember, this is just on shampooed extensions. Applying the colour. See, now when I'm applying the colour, even though it looked really light in pastel on there, I'm going to have to add a bit more colour because I'm finding that this isn't going to do anything. So I'm going to add some more bright daffodil. I've already tested out how a lot of these colours are going to kind of appear. If you haven't done this, then I really recommend doing it before you do it because you want to make sure that it turns out the way you want. So I've added another bit of the yellow to it. Hopefully that will be enough to hold the colour. So just wiping the colour over the entire piece. Make sure you keep it nice and separated. Once I've done that first piece, make sure that it's thoroughly mixed through. So I'm just going to scoop it all up, get my foil, place the dye in there, and then just parcel it up so that the dye doesn't spread. Next piece I'm going to do is apricot. Now over here I have a thing of water, and basically I'm treating this like I'm an artist and I'm painting. I'm just kind of rinsing them off in here and then drying them because I've got so many colours to get through that this is the best way to do it. Then I'm going to go with apricot. Okay, so I finished my first piece, and let me tell you, this is going to be a very time consuming thing. Now if you can see here, I've basically, each colour I've sectioned off into a foil, and that way the colours won't touch. And I've just got this in cling wrap, and what I'm going to do is just gently hold these together, clean off the cling wrap. I'm going to wrap it up, and then what I'm going to do is put them in the bathroom, and I'm going to go through every single piece of hair and do this. And I'm not going to even bother filming this, I'm just going to show you what it looks like when I rinse them out. Check it out. It's all developing now, so hopefully it turns out alright. I'm going to leave it for a little while, maybe about I've left it for about an hour so far. I'm going to leave them for a couple of hours. The rest is in the bathroom. It took forever, but yeah, just thought I'd show you. Okay, so it's many hours later and I've finally finished making these extensions. They were definitely the longest extensions project I've ever had. So yeah, I'm kind of glad it's over, but here they are. And they're amazing. They turned out so well, and the toner wasn't affected by them, and they're like every colour. Yeah, I'll just show you actually. They're almost dry. You get the idea. So yeah, all I did was when I finished dyeing them and I felt it was time to get everything out, I just conditioned them, and then I've just been blow drying them now, and then I'm going to wear them. Yeah, everything will be up soon, and thank you. If you have any questions, please ask me, and I'll speak to you guys soon.